Oh, guys, good, you're here. I am so excited. Guess what? I hope this isn't about your podcast again. Why, did you finally listen to it?
Before we start this podcast, let me invite you to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, YouTube, or any podcaster. I'm such a cute.
Hello, Pups and Kittens, and welcome to the Groomer Next Door, episode 132. I'm your co-host, Chris Green. Sitting next to me, as always, is the fabulous Sarah.
Hello.
Well, we have a very, very jam-packed episode, and we're going to try to get through everything as quick as possible. It has been one of those weeks that, well, when we look back on it, we'll laugh, maybe, I doubt it, but it's one of those things. This week's episode is titled, What's Wrong with My Cat Food? Now, it's kind of a two-part series. Last week we had the ingredients in our dog food, so we figured, you know what? We have cats, we know a lot of people out there who have cats, and we have a lot of you who listen to the podcast who have said we need to do a little bit more on cats as well. So, that's why we're like, you know what? We'll actually dive into that as well. Now, before we even get started on everything, let's first go into what happened today. Today was PACAL's, I was going to actually say the whole name, Phelps County Animal Welfare League's.
And you end up doing it anyways.
I know, right? PACAL's annual tail trot, 5 and 10K. So you were actually part of it because you're the vice president. So tell us how it all went.
Well, I was part of it, but I wasn't the mastermind behind all of it. But it turned out really good.
Be a vice president. Say you took care of everything. You are PACAL.
No.
Okay, go on.
It went really well. We had people of all ages. There was somebody that was, I think, 8 or 9 running the 10K.
Wow. Yeah.
The little dude was running with his dad and his mom. It was pretty cool. It was very epic. I mean, that kid was
Did he cross the line?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What was his time? Because I can do better.
The clock's on the other side.
I can do better.
Of course you could. As you're running in your sleep.
I'll be like one of the dogs when they're actually dreaming and and their legs are moving. Yeah, that would be me.
And then we had people as far into pretty far into their 60s who did the 5K, which was they walked the miles. It all went real well. Gave out medals. People were happy. They were feeling good. But it really made me realize how much I'm not in shape.
Now, with that though, we go for a 3-mile walk every day.
Yeah, every day we do a 3 miles. So
it's not like you're not in shape, but when we do that mile.
Yeah, it's not like I'm huffing and puffing for 3 miles.
And we do a 3 mile in 51 minutes. It was last night. So 51 minutes.
And a lot of people were finishing their 3 mile in an hour and 20 minutes and stuff.
Yeah, so it's not like you're out of shape. No.
I glanced over at the clock. I'm like, huh. But you know what? They came out. They supported a fantastic cause. Money raised will help benefit our spay and neuter fund and our assistance fund for folks that are low income. And I'm pretty sure that a portion of it will go to our pet food pantry and such. So I'm real excited. I can't wait to find out what the final numbers are.
Which is cool. All right. Well, let's dive into the weekly roundup.
The weekly roundup, yeehaw.
Alright, this week on our weekly roundup, we have a lot to actually cover. as I said at the opening, we have a jumbo-packed show. We have a lot to cover. Starting with, let's go back to our biggest problem, and we won't talk too much on this, but last week, on Father's Day...
Yes, and we forgot to mention last podcast to say Happy Father's Day to all those.
Yes, we did, actually.
And so I say it now. Happy Father's Day to all you daddies out there with fur babies and actual children. We all are appreciative to all you do, and Happy Father's Day to you.
Oh, well, never celebrate Father's Day again. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm one of those people, I don't like to make a big deal about Father's Day. I mean, moms do all the work. I don't see that we do as much as what a mom can do. You guys carry the baby for 9 months. We're there for the fun part, and then we're off in our own world. Well, a lot of them. I know I'm involved, and I know there's a lot of dads out there who are involved. But, I don't really like to make a big deal about it. So my theory is we'll go and we'll do something as a family. And, we picked going to a movie because Claire wanted to see Finding Dory.
So what a great way to celebrate Father's Day than taking the father to a movie he really didn't want to see.
I really didn't want to see it. I'm not going to lie. I was like, I can catch that when it comes out on DVD. But the best part was, it was a great movie. It was the drive home that wasn't fun.
Claire started crying in the movie, just like she did with the Inside Out.
Yeah, Inside Out.
No. Is it Inside Out?
Yeah, it's Inside Out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever that one was with emotions.
Yep.
She started crying, and then she started crying during Dory, and I nudged you. I'm like, look at your little girl. She's so sensitive.
She is very sensitive. So we're driving home. I mean, we stopped to go have dinner. That didn't go well at all.
The guy gave away our table.
Oh, gosh.
He lied to me, said, no, I said Sue.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Sarah and Sue do not sound alike.
So we ended up leaving that place, and I wish we would have ate, just for the simple fact, because we didn't eat dinner after that. As we're driving home,
halfway home?
Yeah, the halfway home. We call our car Rescue 1, because we've saved over 30 lives just this year with this SUV. And for some reason, we had this weird sound when I was at 70 miles an hour on the car. I lowered the speed to 60 and went away. I'm going, what's wrong? And we're just like, well, we're going to have to get the car to the shop this week.
Because the car never really liked going over 80.
Yeah. So I was
like, speed limit 75. We're in no rush. We'd rather arrive alive.
Right. and it was like, okay, well, it could be a belt. That was a weird sound. Very well could have been a belt that could have just, started to wear. And there's this very large incline. And once I got to the incline, all of a sudden the car just starts banging heavily. It was crazy bad. I've never heard anything like this.
We had trucks behind us, we couldn't exactly stop.
Yeah, you can't stop. You can't do anything. You got to get the car up there. So get it up the hill. I get it right off that side of the road. Throw my four-ways on. The car conks out on us as I'm getting it off the side of the road. I guess you could say lucky to have been able to do that. It was bad. We were stuck on the side of the road.
We know we don't drive on the left side of the road.
Yeah.
In any highway, you stay to the right so that faster vehicles can go around you and use it as a passing lane. There's too many people out there that use it as a driving lane. It's not a cruising lane. You don't just cruise there because you're going faster. But no, it's a passing lane. We follow the rules.
Yeah,
so
we were very
following the rules. We were already close to the shoulder when we had a problem.
No, that could have been really bad too. Yeah.
Can you imagine having this on the 405 freeway and there's 6 lanes of traffic you gotta get over?
Actually, there's actually better ways though. When you're on a freeway like that and you call for roadside, they actually have tow trucks that can hook you right away. They're on the freeway already. They hook you.
They couldn't do that with 4-wheel drive.
You would actually probably hit it in neutral. So it would roll. Mm-hmm. I think they could actually. Big cities actually have ways of doing it. Small places like this. But if you had to get
all the way over.
They have all these.
I'm saying you got to get all the way over to the shoulder, then passing right or conking out right in the middle of the highway.
Yeah, what I'm saying is there's actually.
So you got to get over it. It's easier in a 2-lane road to get over than it is in a 6-lane.
I'll explain
to you later.
Yeah. So
it's safer to get to the shoulder.
It is. We were on the side of the road for it was a very long time. A lot of things went on. Very hard week because we found out that probably the engine blew, which we don't know how this is even possible. Apparently the car had no oil. It was bone dry, which it's impossible. It's absolutely impossible.
We've talked to many different people on how this could have happened, and we don't have any kind of leaks. There's no leaks in our driveway. There's no leaks at where we park at work. We park in the same spot every day, and no drips, no leaks whatsoever.
And the other part is, the real kicker here is the car had just been serviced. We had to do a regulator, a temperature regulator. You know the word better than I.
Thermostat regulator.
There you go. Literally February 29th of this year. So it's literally almost 3 months to the day. Like 3.5 months exactly, and plus a diagnostic that they had to do to make sure that wasn't the only problem. So we've actually, we're like, well, this is impossible. You can't go through 2 gallons of oil that quickly. We're not doing the massive traveling. Not like last year where I was doing Springfield, home.
Yeah, we didn't have any indication on our computer.
On our dash.
That says, hey, low oil pressure.
Right. Nothing
we
came
didn't
up.
have anything saying that. There was no overheating. We didn't burn black smoke. Nothing like that happened. So as we talked to the insurance company, that was a runaround, but still we talked to them. You got a hold of them.
Yeah, it took up until Friday to actually get this handled.
So they're opening up an investigation that someone has tampered with our vehicle.
Yep.
Now, we do have people in town who hate us for being as loving as we are,
well, look
and
at all we do.
We are.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And they hate the fact that we get praised for it.
And they hate the fact that they've been caught in several lies because we do not tell lies. And so it's easier to prove when we do not tell lies than it is for them to weave a web so big that eventually you get wrapped up in the lies.
And we've talked about it before. We know that they spam our stuff, and it's a big thing. We've talked about this so many times.
So we do have people who don't like us, and I don't put it past them for doing something to our vehicle.
No, I don't either.
So there will be a
police report.
A thorough investigation onto what they did, because our vehicle has a high enough clearance that they can just, slide underneath the car or the SUV, drain the oil, and leave without a trace. And we've been in places for hours a few times, and they could have done it.
Yep.
And never been seen.
So, of course, police report has to be, written up, and they're gonna, this is gonna become an issue. So if this was an actual attempt to sabotage, well, if they're listening and they know if this did actually happen, well, you do understand that carries a very heavy sentence. So that's that.
Attempted murder.
Yeah, could be on 3 counts of that. It would be.
Yep.
So if that actually did happen, it's going to be really bad. But
it would be awesome if they found fingerprints.
It would be great, but I don't know. So that's what we're facing at. But on top of all that, we show up to work on Monday, and a bizarre story comes out. And as you can tell, it wasn't already crazy. The first thing we walk into work on Monday, we hear this very peculiar story, and I'm going to have to be very sensitive on how we actually tell the story. We walk into work and we're told that somebody had rescued these 2 dogs from an apparent animal killer, I guess you would pretty much label them. They said that this person was going to put a gun to these 2 dogs' head and blow their brains out.
Yep.
So
for no reason.
Yeah, for no reason.
They're not aggressive. They're not. They're housebroken. They're good dogs.
Yeah, they're lovable. Very lovable. Yeah. I mean, the worst thing that I can see that they do is they love a lot.
Yes.
And if that's really bad, oh my gosh. So they were just going to bring them over and have us, hold on to these dogs just for a couple hours while they went to work and found permanent housing for these 2 dogs. The unfortunate side was that we didn't hear anything back.
Yeah, the dogs were never picked up again. Nobody contacted us to let us know, and we're approaching a really busy time at Shadowwood. And Keith is amazing when it comes to this. He goes, hey, it's fine as long as you take care of them. They can stay here and everything's good.
Yeah.
Problem is, our cars broke down. we're relying on rides. I can't get to Shadowwood on the weekends to take care of these dogs. And we are booked. I mean, they have overflow right now.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like that for this weekend and next.
Oh, next weekend's going to be really hectic.
Yes, next Friday is going to be a terrible.
I'm not going to be at work, by the way, next Friday.
They're going to try to take our grooming crates for boarding customers because they're going to be so booked.
Well, the moment once we actually descend our afternoon dogs next Friday, they'll start actually using those.
They start using them sooner.
I know, but we'll have
Laura.
to.
We fight with Laura. Laura, I need my grooming crates. You got to do something else.
Yeah, it's rough.
But
so
we did everything we could. We fed them.
Yep.
They didn't
played with them, took them outside.
The person didn't give us food or anything like that.
And
then finally, Friday came around. There was absolutely nothing we can do. We can't just say, okay, well, we'll deny customers that pay.
And there's a lot more to it. There's a great deal more that goes to it. So,
but for the most part, if Keith doesn't rake in the money on major holidays, he can't help the community when it comes slower times.
Well, yeah,
it's like expecting me to do free grooms all the time. Well, how am I going to pay my bills if I constantly donate grooms to the needy?
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's unfortunate, and it's not like American greed or people needing, wanting money. No, Keith will give back when he can, and when he can is when it's not busy.
Well, a profiting business has to make its profit when it can. It can't be in the red, or there's no such thing as a business.
Keith does all kinds of things when he knows somebody's having a tough time, or we even had a customer go all the way out to Africa to adopt their daughter, and Keith did half a groom or half board.
Yeah.
So
they were gone for weeks.
They were gone for weeks, yes. Yeah. And we paid for their food, or not, you and I, but Keith paid for the dog's food, so they didn't have to pay for it.
Right.
So he does do charity work all the time. But for somebody to just leave
drop
the dog
and go,
and not contact me, she knows what Shadowwood's number is. They know how
to reach us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Via email, Facebook, phone, text messaging.
There's
the only thing we don't
ways.
do is we don't use Instagram, we don't use Twitter.
Right.
So those are the only two ways you cannot get a hold of us. Everything else you can.
This was a real rough situation. So I had to actually go out to the shelter yesterday to bring these two dogs. Thanks to John Redshaw, who is
an amazing animal lover.
He is, and a constant guest on our podcast as well. I wonder why he's always on the podcast, right? He was able to take them in, and there's definitely things that make this very challenging. And like I said, we're going to be very discreet with this whole thing, but it's the way I guess I can put it to all of you is we really encourage people going out there and helping animals in need, but you got to see it through. We've got one adult cat and 3 kittens. We did all of these were rescues that we were able to do. We fostered them. We're paying for them. We're maintaining these cats, and then when it comes time, we will then move them to a shelter, to an actual rescue that will adopt them out. That's seeing it through, not just picking them up and going.
Our 3 kittens and the mama.
Which that's what I'm going to segue to, is how's everything going.
But what I'm saying is that originally we were just going to take them on ourselves, and if the call didn't want to take them on as fosters, well, okay, that's fine. They have their strings pulled in every which direction too. We were going to do what we can to get them spayed, neutered, taken care of, and then rehomed.
Right.
And we'll do the same thing with Spencer. If they don't want to take Spencer in as a foster, then we will go ahead and get him neutered and such in the coming weeks.
Right. Well, luckily we have a few weeks before that.
Yeah.
I'm grateful. But so far in updates on everybody, as we had mentioned previous week, Carl was the one who actually went to the vet.
Yeah, Carl got sick with a little bit of
we talked about this, and then...
Oh, we did?
Yeah, we talked about it last week. He went in. He's doing great now. He put on the weight immediately after.
Oh my gosh! Once the vitamins kicked in and the antibiotics kicked in, he was just a different cat. He was the day after giving him his first set of vitamins and his first set of antibiotics. He was jumping around. Yeah. He was scarfing food down. Yes. It was great.
He actually put on the weight that he was missing.
Yeah, he's about the size of his sister now.
Yeah, they're all ready to go, which makes everything very difficult because we actually, without having Rescue 1 ready to go, we can't drive out and get him.
Yeah, because the plan was to take him out to Bland.
Yes.
And protect every pet, which is PEP for short. They do low-cost spayed and neuters, and for $25 you can get them, each of them spayed and neutered. You get $25 each, and then I think you pay $12 for the shots.
Right.
And then you go on from there.
Right.
Well, Rescue 1's down.
Yeah, with Rescue 1 down, see, that's the thing, folks.
And there's another person I can call on, but I really don't want to call on them.
No, I don't either. Cause
those are for call cats. We can't.
No, we can't. We call the call Rescue 1, obviously, for you know why. One thing that is very vital to this podcast, we say it all the time, is that it's not like this podcast is something that we sit down once a week and we just talk about animals. No, there's 7 days of something happening, lives being saved or being,
It's kind of rare when we have a slow.
We don't have a slow week. I can't remember the last slow week we've had. I mean, it's slow right now because we don't have Clarion Sports, so it's minimized a little bit. But
I'm talking about how many animals we have. Yeah, I mean, we have 4 fosters. This has been the most amount of fosters we've had.
No, we had the puppies.
The viable ones actually moved around and needed constant care. The puppies, luckily, the moms took very good care of her puppies.
Right. And each day on our Facebook page, the Groomer Next Door podcast, we have videos of, a lot of them have been Spencer lately, but everything is up there.
The other ones are hard to capture. They're running so much and they're climbing. Okay, they have this new thing. I got to get it on film somehow. But they lay on their back and they use their claws to run themselves up and down the sofa, the bottom of the sofa. So all of a sudden you see them and they push themselves and they slide on their back.
Spider cat.
Yes.
Spider cat.
Yes.
Does whatever a spider cat does.
So all of a sudden you see little feet coming out from the bottom of our sofa and they're sliding all over the place. That is fun for them.
So there's
a reason why we can't have nice things. And it's fine.
Apparently, yeah. But again, got a lot going on. It never stops, and that's kind of the part that I really enjoy the most.
It's fun. It's rewarding. It can be. What?
The last thing I'm going to say.
Is it really?
Yeah, the last thing when it comes to foster. Spencer Rhodes actually started eating
a
cat food. Yeah, gooey. Yeah, for those, like I said, if you're on our Facebook page, you saw it at the same time. We actually mashed up kitten soft food because he's now got his teeth in, and wow, he's using them.
Oh, they hurt.
They do.
Hurt so bad.
When he's hungry and you're petting him and you're walking him over to where you're putting his food, he'll bite you, not knowing that he's biting you. He just wants food. But it's a mixture. He's got the kitten food, but we're also taking the actual cat milk because obviously we don't have a mama that's nursing. We're actually mixing the kitten food with the actual milk itself, and he's devouring. This is bizarre.
That's probably why he's not growing very big, because he doesn't have his mother's milk.
Yeah, he's still the same size,
but tiny.
But he is well maintained when it comes to food. He's eating not only the actual amount that he was having in the bottle, he's also having the kitten soft food as well.
A spoon or two full. Yeah. I mean, this cat just devours food. And we got to make sure he doesn't eat too much, can gorge himself.
Right. So we're very cautious on that too.
But he still eats about 4 or 5 times a day.
I would say 4. 4 is probably the number. Morning, somewhere in the afternoon, somewhere right around dinner, and then right before bedtime is usually how we're feeding them. And
it's when we first wake up.
And you have to
lunch,
do it.
And then
right around dinner, and then right before bed.
You normally feed them before you get home. When you get home around 4.
Right before dinner. So he's really maintained, and he is going fast. I know you had said that there had been somebody who had already wanted to adopt him, which
she wants to, but she knows she can't because she has severe cat allergies.
Good, then that way I can keep him. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to keep him. All right, well, let's move up. We're not going to move on, actually. Apparently, we have a recall. Alright, we have actually our very first, when it comes to recalls for pet food, we actually have our very first cat food recall. It seems like this could be an all-cat episode, I don't know why. Hill's Pet Nutrition has announced an expansion of its May cat food recall. Now, to include an additional product due to high levels of iron. It's the Science Plan Feline 11 plus Healthy Aging Chicken and Salmon Multi-Pack. The size is the 12 by 85 gram size, and the SKU number is 2190V as in Victor, and the expiration is 9/2007.
2007?
2017, sorry. 2017. It says the initial recall was undertaken after high amounts of iron were discovered in the 6 Hills Science Plan product. The increase in iron was believed to be an ingredient supplier. This product was available for sale in the United Kingdom and Ireland. So if you guys are in America, this will not actually apply to you. But if you are in the United Kingdom or Ireland, I know we have a few people in Europe that actually listen to us. This is great for you. It was sold early of May 2016. As early as May of 2016.
Whoa! So this has been going on for a long time.
For a couple months almost.
Oh wow.
Yep. So what are the symptoms? If your cat has consumed the affected product, keep an eye out for the following symptoms of excess iron. They have, this is a little weird, depression, shock, hemorrhaging, diarrhea, vomiting, abdominal pain, and tremors. If this is something that has happened, what to do? If you have purchased a bag of Hill Science Plan Feline Healthy Aging, call the company's consumer helpline at 0800-282-438 to inquire about a replacement or a refund. If your bag has been opened, dispose of the food as soon as possible, ensuring your pet won't find it. Alright, well with that said, let's move on to GND News.
I don't watch the news because I'm a kid.
Alright, this week on GND News, we have 2 stories as we do. The first story is a heavy-hearted story about a retired military dog, and the second one is kind of an update of a groomer out in Florida who is facing multiple charges for leaving customers in his van. So with that said, let's move on to our very first story, Claire. So Claire, play that clip.
If one were to measure a dog's life simply in numbers, Combat Canine Rico couldn't be bested. 2 tours in Afghanistan, more than 240 missions, some 30 firefights, and 12 and a half years on this earth. But as any dog owner knows, especially Rico's wartime partner, it's about much more than a military record.
It was not a moment that it wasn't his mission or his goal to be by my side. I was everything to him, and he was everything to me.
This was yesterday. After more than a year apart, Staff Sergeant Russ Beckley Jr. was finally reunited with Rico. The patriotic pup retired from the service 4 years ago and has lived in Saugatuck with Russ's parents ever since. But it isn't hard to see Rico is in poor health. Time has slowly taken its toll. So today, the Beckley family made the difficult decision to put him down and say their final farewell.
For a time, we were unbeatable. Nothing passed among us undetected.
And they did so with honor. Both Russ Jr. and Russ Sr. offering parting words as a crowd of dozens surrounded in tribute. Then, inside their home with family by his side, Rico took his last breath.
I was thinking about how loyal he was to our family, to my son, to myself, and to our country. I think Rico for everything that he's done for me. I told him that I loved him.
What followed was a true military send-off. The American flag lowered to half-staff. Visitors paying their respects at a homemade memorial. And then, father and son, both dressed in their marine blues, carried out the war dog in a flag-draped coffin. A send-off fitting for this family's combat hero. And for the one who served alongside him, there's the comfort of knowing someday they'll see each other again.
I can just imagine one day seeing, my great-grandfather, my grandfather, my father, and my mother standing there with Rico, and we'll all be together again.
That was definitely a heavy-hearted story. We want to thank Rico for his several tours of duty and finally be able to come home and live out the rest of his life as a dog. A happy dog.
A civilian dog.
A happy dog. Happy,
yeah.
He gets the air conditioning, lay around, enjoy retirement like he should have.
And he earned it. I mean, how many times do we ever say this, that there are so many dogs that do so much more than
most people in the U.S. as it is.
Or world.
Yeah, true.
I mean, it's pretty sad. So for that, he's a hero. He's definitely a hero, and he will be missed. Alright, let's move on to our second story about the negligent groomer. And it is kind of an update from a previous episode where we had...
It's not a conclusion yet, but This is an update.
But it is an update. So Claire, play that clip.
Here tonight, a dog groomer bonding out of jail after being charged of beloved pets who were in his care. These 3 dogs died after being left in his hot van. We're talking for hours.
It's a story you saw first right here on Local 10 News when their owner came to us for help. Well, tonight, we're hearing from that groomer. Local 10 News reporter Michael Seiden is live outside the jail in Fort Lauderdale with our top story. Michael.
Well, it just started pouring out here, but when that defendant walked out of here, he didn't hide from our cameras. In fact, he answered all of our questions, and he told us, look, it was an honest mistake. He had just forgotten that those 3 dogs were still inside his van.
It's a disgraceful mistake. I'm a pet lover. That's my calling. I've been grooming for 30 years.
Charged with the deaths of 3 dogs, Charleston Cessacious bonded out of jail Tuesday night, sharing his side of the story for the first time since these 3 little pups were found dead just 2 months ago inside his van.
The woman leaves 5,000 house down to mine, so I thought I was going home, and I parked my car in my driveway. That's why I
just forgot about it?
Yes, because I've done this way thousands of times.
The 51-year-old calls himself a professional groomer who picks up dogs at his customers' homes. In fact, he's the owner of this Miramar business, claiming what happened was an accident, an honest mistake.
It is like I gave them to death. To their killer.
Last month in an interview with Local 10's animal advocate J.C. Birch, Danielle Trenton broke down in tears, describing the horrifying moments. First, she claimed she got the runaround from the business owner about the whereabouts of her dogs. Then came the disturbing discovery inside the van.
My husband called me and said, they're here. They're inside the car.
Investigators say the cause of death, heat exhaustion. And tonight, the owner of that business facing multiple felony charges. He told us, though, his business will remain open. Now, we did reach out to the owner of those deceased dogs. She told us that investigators have asked her not to speak out about what's going on right now, but she did say that she is praying for justice. We are live in Fort Lauderdale. I'm Michael Seiden, Local 10 News.
Okay, Michael, thanks.
I said this already before, he was negligent, and I've also said this in previous GMB News versions, and that is, sometimes it's better just not to say anything than to go public. I mean, he definitely had plenty to say, and it's like...
Well, the thing is that if we want animals' lives to mean something more than just property, so that we can pull them out of abuse situations and rescue them properly versus waiting for the owner to release them. If we want their lives to matter, then they have to matter right now too. They can't be just, oh, it was a mistake. I'm sorry, there are women who suffocate their kids by mistake. There are people who they take a medicine at the wrong time and drive their family somewhere and get in an accident, kill their family for by a mistake.
And at one point, that would not have been law. It wouldn't have been written into law. It wouldn't have been against the law until it was written into law. And now it's against the law, and we live that as normal.
Not only was it negligent,
big time.
It was. I want to say it was not intentional torture.
No.
I don't believe that he intentionally did any of this. I think it was a mistake. But just like with murder of humans, there were murders that are done out of mistake. You didn't mean to punch the guy hard enough to hit his head to crack his skull open, but you did it anyways. There's things that you do, and it's a complete mistake that have a horrible outcome, but you still have to pay for them. At a lesser degree, it's not like he actually tortured him, locked him in the van, lit the van on fire, watched him die. No. I can see where he got confused if he lived down the street from his customer and he thought he was just going home. But the problem that keeps striking me is that you would have heard those dogs in the back panting. You would have heard them
barking.
Well, not even that. Say if they're not barkers. When you turn a corner and they slide, and then they slide this way, they slide that way.
You hear the kennel.
Yeah, you hear the kennel rattling. Every time I get out of the vehicle, before we had Claire and even after we had Claire, I always look in the back of my car. Yeah. It's an automatic reaction. I get out of the car, I look. Well, Claire's not with me, she's with her going, or her grandma, or with her dad. But I still look.
Well, yeah, I guess that's going back to when you think about when she was an infant or newborn, when she couldn't open up the door for herself. Yep. You would actually think...
And there's people who have left children in cars that have died. They perished because of being left in a hot car.
And we always have those questions, same questions, like, well, we had a child.
How did you do that?
Yeah.
Why?
How many times did you actually go out, and you remember this, you'll remember when I say it, but you went out a couple times when she was an infant, and you actually came home and you go, you wouldn't believe what I did. And I go, what? I actually had a panic attack moment. What happened? Well, I went over to wherever you were going, and I looked in the back seat, and Claire wasn't there, and I forgot. Well, what happened to her? Because, automatically you always think my child's in the car. She was with me at the time, and you're like, for a split second there, I panicked.
Yep.
Where was she? And then it's like, oh wait, she's at home with her dad. Never mind.
So you had to think it through.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with dogs. You have a business that is to take care of these pups. You need to take care of them as if they were your children. Yeah. If you run a daycare, you gotta look at those kids as your children.
Yes.
And make sure your children grow and flourish, not perish.
Right.
So he does need to be facing felony charges. If there were licenses to be a groomer, it should have been revoked.
I guess.
But I don't think he should lose his entire life. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna look at it. I look at it from a little bit of an angle, and that is we with Rescue 1. How many times have we driven over the last few months with even empty crates in the car? These kennels are in the car, so you hear them, and they're loud. Exactly, and they're loud. So you hear these things as you hit bumps and stuff like that in the road. You hear them. Now, I can't think. Well, how I went home and I didn't even think about it. I'm like, no, there's something more. There's got to be more to that.
And it could very likely be, since he is in his 50s, he might be having early stages of Alzheimer's. So that needs to be taken into consideration too.
Yeah.
And definitely should not be grooming anymore.
Yeah.
But he cannot get away with nothing.
Yeah, no.
He should not skate away from this.
No.
He should serve some kind of time. He should have to lose his portion of the grooming business, or at least not participate, be a silent partner.
I would say be a silent partner. Obviously picking up animals is kind of...
Another thing that upset me, though, with all these reports, is that they put the name of the salon in it. Most salons have more than just one groomer grooming.
And they're independent. They're not...
Yes, they're typically independent, or if they are actual employees, because grooming's starting to go in that direction. Trying to, a minimum wage or...
a commission.
not even a commission, it's just straight hourly.
Oh, okay.
To avoid all of our government BS on taxes. So all those people in that salon right now who did nothing wrong is being punished.
Right, because
that is not right.
That's true.
You know, we had a groomer in our salon that was terrible. And he did, this is back in California, and he had stressed a dog out enough it died. I shouldn't have been blamed for that. I wasn't even there that day. But there was that dark cloud over that salon. And luckily we were able to push through it. But people were talking about it and they were saying, well, I can't believe you guys did that. No, there's no you guys here.
Yeah,
there's him.
It's a building that has independent people working that are working for themselves and they have to pay.
People.
Right.
They're good with their animals.
Right.
They're excellent pet groomers, and then you had this one bad person.
Baby pooped in the bathtub.
And everybody's to blame. It's not right. News loves to hurt people.
Yeah. And
right now the media is hurting people. If the media actually followed this through and kept tabs on it, and he returned back to grooming,
then you
let them know, and you let people know, make them aware of what happened, make them know full well that this guy at this salon did this.
Right.
But right now in the preliminaries, you don't need to be taking down an entire grooming shop, even though if he owns it.
I never thought of it that way.
Oh yeah, I look at them like, all those poor groomers right now.
Yeah.
They'll probably hardly have any grooming dogs. And if they do, it's those super loyalists.
Right. And then even at that,
you're messing with their pocketbooks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. But we'll keep you up on this, and we'll let you know exactly what happens if and when it comes available. Well, that concludes GND News for this week.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your paws together for a main topic.
Alright, this week on our main topic of the week, we are actually going to cover cat food ingredients. Just like last week, how we were talking about the bad things in the dog food, there's just as much with the cat food as there was with the dog food. But, we're not going to go through it like this crazy amount of things. We're going to give you all the facts that you need to know, and pretty much like we did last week, we hope that you go over to your cat food bag and go, I wonder if my cat food has this in it.
We did it.
Yeah, we did. Alright, let's just dive right into this. The first ingredient, just like in dogs, is corn. Cats are carnivores and can't process carbohydrates the way we do. Grains in particular, corn, are terrible for the health. Corn and other grains are the leading cause of overweight, obese, and diabetic cats. Corn is naturally high in sugar. In addition, since corn is not sufficient source of protein, the cat will eat even more of the food because it feels malnourished. This can lead to unwanted eating habits such as gorging and vomiting. So if your cats like to do that, and if they eat really fast, and then all of a sudden you think they have a hairball, and then you see mashed up throw up that's in the shape of the cat food, that's exactly it right there.
Yep.
And a lot of people are like, my cat throws up a lot. There it is. There's your reason why.
And if you get to it eventually, you're just going to end up saying it twice. But the better food that you put your cat on, the better their coat's going to be. And the better the coat is going to be, the less hairballs they're going to have.
That's true. That is true. If corn or anything corn-based, like corn gluten meal, is listed as one of the 5 ingredients of the cat food, that cat food is garbage. And I said this even last week. If your dog food has this as your base, then your dog food is garbage. Well, same thing. For your cat's health, consumers are catching on to this, and pet food companies have responded by listing corn as, and I'm probably going to mispronounce this, but maize? M-A-I-Z-E. Never actually seen that word. I don't know why. Alright. So any types of grain, this may include brown rice, cracked, barley, and oatmeal, which are higher quality grains than corn. But still not great, since cats shouldn't be eating grain at all.
Well, it's a simple natural look. You never seen a cat out in the wild eating wheat. You don't see cats out in the wild eating corn.
You don't?
They're supposed to be eating the meat. Now, the meat that they gather is fed from a vegetarian-style food. So you don't want to just introduce them to the grains and expect their stomach to digest them. No, the mice, the birds, they eat what they eat. They digest it. They turn it into their own fats and meats.
And proteins.
And then the cat eats it from there.
Right. Now, the next thing to be cautious about, and again, it's almost kind of like listening to last week's podcast, is meat byproducts. Parts of the slaughterhouse and a slaughtered animal, not including meat. This includes organs such as kidneys, intestines, brain, bone, etc. Under this definition, meat byproducts are not necessarily bad for your cat, but the problem is you don't know what the source of meat byproduct is. It is in the fact legal for meat byproducts to contain, quote, 4D animals, dead, dying, deceased, down. That would include roadkill. Again, we had mentioned this even last week. So the same things we had said in the meat byproducts for your dog food is the same thing that's going in your cat food.
Yeah, see, what you're thinking that byproducts would be, when I do say the slaughterhouse waste, oh, well, ground up eggshells, that's not a big deal. You know, adds to their vitamins and such. And then people give out their dogs, and I haven't seen it done for cats, but for dogs at least, chicken legs, cooked chicken legs or something like that. There's stuff that's viable and you can use for your animal, but this isn't saying that that animal is already sick, or it's not saying that, hey, by the way, this bag of byproducts were from animals that are dead for a couple days.
And I'm actually going to make this even worse, because in this list that I have, it actually even says something that's even more morbid than even the other stuff and the actual meat byproducts. It also includes euthanized cats and dogs, including their collars. These source products are rendered, the fat is siphoned off to be used as animal fat. And the remaining material is extruded to form meat byproducts.
That's gross.
That is absolutely just morbid.
See, one way you can completely avoid that. Now that is going to a pretty far extreme.
It is, but I'm sure it happens.
I have not heard of that one myself. We'll be doing a little more research, obviously, because, we don't stop learning about this stuff.
No, stop at all.
I was going somewhere. Okay. There are foods out there that you can buy your animals that are single source proteins.
Right.
That means whatever fat's used, whatever meat is used, is all from a particular animal. Pure Vita from KLN, they're single source protein. At the shop, we carry turkey and salmon for the cats. And then we have bison, turkey, salmon for the dogs. So you really can avoid this if you really wanted to.
Oh yeah, you can.
People only come in every so often for the cat food because the cat doesn't eat that much.
It's true. Alright, the next one is poultry byproducts. I think by the word byproducts, we're all going to be kind of cringing ourselves going, oh gosh, now what? I hope none of you are eating breakfast while listening, or lunch while listening to this, because, well, sorry. The same definition as meat byproducts, except using poultry. It may include the use of feathers, beaks, and feet. So same as what we had talked about last week with dogs, same thing with the poultry. The next one, I don't think we have anything to cover on it.
Oh, I was just saying is that there's some that use the chicken and the duck feet, but it's it's prepared a certain way.
Right.
So that they can eat it, and it's used as a treat. It is not used as a source of viable everyday food.
Right. It's not an ingredient just to add substance. The next one, and the last one on this, is going to be animal digest. Similar to meat byproducts, except that it may include refuse from restaurants and supermarkets. It's a poor source of protein. Interesting.
Yeah, so you won't even eat it.
Nope. It's completely, we can't sell it in the market. It's just completely, probably FDA.
If you won't eat it, why are you going to make an animal eat it?
Exactly.
I won't. I don't want to eat feathers. I don't want to eat roundup shells. I don't want to eat beaks.
I know. I don't. I mean,
our systems are so similar.
And let's be realistic. If you're listening to this podcast, you love your animals. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to want your animals. I mean, I had somebody comment on the posting last week and said, "Well, I don't feed my dogs these things anyway." Well, you're right. But the problem is that we're reaching out to the people who actually do to give awareness. Because in a week's time, how many people say, well, I feed my dog or cat these things, and then you're like, well, here's the reasons why you shouldn't, and they're like, what?
Well, they believe the commercial of like Purina and the Pro Plan and Pedigree, and they believe in what they have to say. You look at the Beneful bags of dog food, and it's just a streaming of all these awesome ingredients that you would look at and say, oh my gosh, I would love to have that melody of fruits or of vegetables.
Right, that would be great on my plate.
Even though our systems are a lot alike, there are parts that they cannot digest properly. So you really got to watch the ingredients. What I like to do with those $1 million words that they love to use, type it into your Google search.
Right.
Just while you're standing there, type it into Google real quick and find out exactly what it is.
And then when you figure it out, you're like, oh, what?
It's like,
it's almost like middle fingers.
We don't let Claire have processed cereals.
Right.
Because inside the processed cereal is mold and algae that they use as preservatives. Mm-hmm. That's a big no, especially any kind of sugary cereal.
Right.
Although it's not going to kill her.
It's not going to be good for her.
I don't want her to engorge in it.
Right.
It's anything, you know. People think that you should never have any kind of candy. Well, every once in a while, it's okay.
In moderation, everything's okay, but this is
not
different.
All the time.
Right.
And here we go.
And again, we're talking about cats this time, and cats live predominantly longer than dogs. So you look at your cat. You have a kitten, like what we see a lot, and you're thinking, this cat has 15 to 20 years of life, and some go even longer. How do I give it the best 15, 20 years possible? Well, here's where it starts.
See, I'm not gonna lie. We do have an overeating issue with our cats that we are trying to manage. Rambo will shoo off everybody.
Yeah, except the kittens. He's been really good about the kittens. He's like, hey, come on.
Uncle Rambo lets kids do whatever they want.
That's true.
But before Mama Kitty and Callie get theirs, Rambo gets his. So I was told that I need to feed them all separately in different spots. So Rambo can have his, and since Rambo can't jump high, put Mama Kitty's and Callie's up higher.
Makes sense.
Until he starts losing some weight.
Alright, let's move on to good ingredients to look for. Chicken or chicken deboned. Chicken meat from muscles and meat. These are things you're going to look for. Turkey or deboned turkey. Again, turkey meat from muscled meat. Duck or duck deboned. Duck meat from muscle meat. Same thing. Rabbit deboned. Same thing. Chicken meal. Ground and rendered chicken meat. Not as nutritious as chicken deboned, but still quite good.
That's where people start saving money on their dog food or cat food.
And these are all the good ingredients. Turkey meal, which is ground and rendered turkey meat. Salmon oil, and or flaxseed oil.
I really suggest.
Yeah, you're huge on this.
really suggest having something like that in there. And if you wanted to add flaxseed to your animal's food, do not put whole flax seeds in there. They're so tiny, they're just going to go right through their body. So you need to get the ground up flaxseed. And then as for the salmon oil, it stinks to high heaven. So you really want it to already be in the food.
Mm-hmm. And these are good for your cat's fur, shiny and soft coat, and eyes. Origin, bright and clear. Sorry, that was weird. I don't like origin. Bright and clear. The next thing, cranberries, or acai. Aki?
I can't remember. It's
Aki berries or blueberries. Good source of antioxidants. Good for maintaining your cat's urinary tract system. Should be listed after the top 5 ingredients.
And also, if your cat's having UTI problems, it happens mostly in males, but even if your female does, I was told to stop giving your cat tap water.
Yes.
Or well water, and start giving them distilled water. It's bottled water, distilled, or if you boil it yourself. Too much minerals are causing the UTI. It's making it too acidic. So one way to get around that, and instead of spending all the costly money, prevent it by using distilled water.
Very good point. I'm surprised you actually have phone on ringer and not on vibrate.
I put on ringer when I can't hear.
Alright, the next one that I swear I've seen this ingredient in Monster Energy drinks is taurine. May be listed as a supplement. This is critical to your cat's overall health. If the ingredient list is full of good proteins, it may not be listed as taurine comes from the protein. I swear I could see that in that. I think I've seen that. Alright. Here's some percentages for you. According to veterinarian and cat foster mother, Dr. Lisa A. Pearson, DVM, a cat's diet should be composed of, in protein calories, it should have 50 to 70%. Fat calories should contain no more than 10 to 30%. Carbohydrates should be in I'm going to say this whole thing. Carbohydrate calories should be no more than 5%. So these are things you'll look right on your bag of cat food, and you'll be able to see if these things are there, then you're actually in the right range. If it's not, or it's higher, well, then obviously.
Yeah, if it's lower, it's typically because you're putting your cat on a diet. And if it's higher, it's for your cat being more active.
Now, I'm not going to go into, I'm not going to tell you guys which brands are recommended, which brands are not recommended.
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious. It follows the same lines along dogs. And we did mention the brands not to go with the dogs.
You want me to go into it then?
Well, I can just say it right now.
I mean, I have
anything out there that is by Purina, that's by Pedigree, that is even Science Diet. Okay, Science Diet.
That's exactly number one. Hill's Science Diet.
Right. It is prescription cat and dog food. I do not see any health benefits of those dog foods. All they are is there to make the veterinarian money and make them money, to make it prescription.
Right.
And it doesn't need to be. If your dog is needing to lose weight, you put them on a weight management grain-free.
Right.
If your dog is needing a hypoallergenic food, there's other foods out there that are hypoallergenic. If your dog is needing particular stuff or for UTIs, there's food out there for UTI problem cats and dogs. You do not need to go and spend that kind of money. I'll say that right now. One of those reps can come down and talk to me face to face. We'll put an interview together. I will tell you left and right, they're just wasting your money.
And you know, it's funny because on this list, Eukanuba, which is IAMS, Purina One. No wonder this company won't talk to me. This is Royal Canin. Friskies, Meow Mix, Purina Kit and Caboodle, and Whiskas. Those are all on the bad list.
Yeah, see, Eukanuba can have some heavily grained food, but they do have some grain-frees. But
I think they're all starting to do it, though. I think they're all kind of we have a good product, but we're kind of mixing our bad products with it so people don't realize it.
Yeah, and then Royal Canin.
That explains why they won't talk to me.
Yeah, they don't have...
They listen to the show.
They have high grains in it, but... What's great about Royal Canin in the first place is that they do donate a lot of food to the needy.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk to them about. I wasn't going to slam them, but apparently that's exactly why they won't talk to me.
Or they're just too busy and they have a bunch of...
There's actual media reps. There's media reps that can handle this.
So don't take it that you're not Cacao News, you're not Channel 11.
None of those channels are out here. Nobody knows what those channels are.
What are the channels out here?
I don't know. Actually, 11 here, Fox is not 11. It's, I think, 2.
Oh.
Yeah, it's weird. Recommended ones are like Wellness Core, Merrick Before Grain, Origin,
Taste of the Wild,
Nature's Variety Instinct. We'll kind of do a quick topic on wet food. There's a great deal of information, so I don't want to, bury you guys. Obviously, most of you use your actual kibble as your cat food. I will say one thing on your actual soft food. On fish and beef, cats actually have a tendency to develop food allergies to fish and beef, or any animal with hooves. I try to avoid formulas that use fish or beef as their main ingredient. Supplement ingredients should be fine. Otherwise, I mix these formulas, like, for example, Cowboy Cocktail or Cookout, with other predominantly made of fowl. So, chicken. So, these are just things that are recommended. In main topic of all of this is, we have to be aware of what's in our cat and dog food. And that's why it became a 2-part, series. Because I think more people are more concerned. I want to say they're more concerned with their dog food.
They're more concerned with their dog food than cats just can survive off of anything because it'll live 20 years no matter what.
Yeah, but what's 20 years of poor health?
Now, you can simply look just at the kibble itself. If you look at the kibble that you're feeding your cat and they're all different colors, it's not supposed to be that way.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I was thinking the same thing.
No, it's not a melody of flavors.
What?
No, it's not.
The yellow one's not snozberry?
It's just a bunch of flavors and color dyes mixed together. Cat food does not need to be colorful. The cats do not need to see pretty colors in their stuff. It's typically for people.
Yeah.
And make it aesthetically pleasing to their senses.
Well, my cereal has those colors, so I want my cats to have that color food.
Even that cereal is not good.
Yeah, right.
The kibble should be a brown to a dark brown, and it shouldn't be anything more than that.
Right.
No colors, no yellows, no reds, no anything.
The colors, Duke. Right. The colors.
So, and their kibble shouldn't be very big. Because the cats got small mouths. You don't need big old X's for them to chomp on. You don't need kibble in the shape of a fish. All this is just for you to look
it's
at.
Aesthetically pleasing, exactly.
It has nothing to do with the health and the benefits for the cat.
But it looks cute on a bag, especially when there's a cartoon drawing of a cat
going meow 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 meow. No, guys, no.
But then again, how many millions of dollars are put into these products for looking all pretty? For my eyes are going to go to it.
Now, folks, close your eyes. Imagine feeding your cat Pure Balance. Nice food, nice grain-free food, or limited limited ingredients food, and your cat is soaking up all the actual goodness that the food is bringing in, and then they're going less.
Your litter boxes aren't smelling so bad.
Yet the stench doesn't fill up your entire garage. Doesn't fill up your entire mudroom. Doesn't fill up
that would be a washroom.
Yeah, right.
Laundry room.
A laundry room. It doesn't fill up anywhere. Just poo that gets covered up with good litter, and you don't smell it.
How many people are laughing at you saying poo right now? How many adults are going, she said poo?
You, and only you.
Oh, maybe just me. That is possible.
So, but just imagine, you feed good food, they go less, their urine doesn't smell as bad.
They're not overweight.
They're not overweight.
They're not suffering from the possibility of diabetes.
And the food that, like the corn that turns into sugar, turns into energy.
Yeah.
And they just run and cause you mischief at 1 o'clock in the morning. Get them on the better food, and they're more evenly keeled.
Well, it's like for example, you know, on our album art each week we have the fact of the week. And for this week, because it was more predominantly for cats,
I love this one.
The actual fact of the week was, on average, cats spend 2/3 of every day sleeping. That means a 9-year-old cat has been awake for only 3 years of its life. So 6 years of its 9, it has been asleep. I mean, think about this, folks. So, you know, cats, what do? They eat and they sleep.
And they poo.
Well, yes, but the eating part, and then how many times have we been told by our doctors, don't eat before bedtime? Well, your cats are eating, and if they're soaking up this garbagey food, they're eating this garbagey food. It's like going to a fast food place and having a greasy triple cheeseburger with chili fries.
They're up all night with
they're not.
They're up all night with heartburn, with not feeling right. But if you let them go to bed with good food, they sleep through the night.
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying that it's best for a cat to sleep.
But they're gonna sleep no matter what. But what I'm saying is that they're gonna sleep and they're gonna be
nocturnal. They'll stay up at night. So this way, the best way to get their, that's what I do with our kittens. I feed them at night.
That is true. Yeah.
So they sleep all night.
That's true.
And then they're up causing mischief in the morning.
That's true. That is true. But
and then they sleep during the afternoon.
That's true.
And then they're up in the evening. And then they sleep in the night.
But, you know, again, you know, you're not going to eat that crap before bed. So when you're actually feeding your cats that crap, there you go. Well, by that sound, apparently Claire has turned on the applause sign and kicking us out for this week. So I'm Chris Green. Have a pet-tastic week.
And I'm Sarah Lee. Make sure everybody realizes life is so short. Play with your pet.
Claire.
Have a good day with your pet. Goodbye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay, gotta go in my bedtime.
And now the show is over now.